The John Deere Hydro 165, probably made back in the 80s. A very good mower with a very worn out drive belt. I looked online, I looked in books, I looked in diagrams, I looked on YouTube. I really couldn't find anything to walk me through how to change the drive belt. So I'm gonna show you what I figured out. And the first thing that I was trying to do was figure out how to get this belt off. Now here is your drive belt. It goes around the rear end back here through a couple of tension pulleys. Part of it goes on one side and part on the other side of this, and all of that's going to be a problem. But before you can get to any of that, you have to get this belt off of this pulley. Now what sits under here is this big electric clutch. This sits right under here, and it has a wire that runs off the side of it that attaches to this wire right there. So I had to sort of figure out how to get that off of there, and it turns out all I had to do is disconnect the wire, which has a little safety catch. Many of you know what I mean. These things usually have some kind of a little catch, and I wound up flipping mine with a screwdriver. Here is the safety catch, and here's the little raised portion of that right here. The other thing I had to do was keep this from turning while I took this 5/8 bolt out of the end of the shaft. This 5/8 bolt was what was holding that on, and once it came out, that whole clutch assembly just slid off of there. But you have to stop the engine from turning in order to loosen that. I tried doing it by putting a set of vice grips on the belt and pinching the belt. That just plain did not work. So what I did do is I came underneath the mower with my long 5/8 inch wrench here, and at the same time I stuck a screwdriver right in through the top of this and pinched down on that air cover that goes around the top of the flywheel. Now I had to be careful. I didn't want to damage anything. I thought about taking the spark plug out and sticking a screwdriver in there, but I was afraid it might punch a hole in the piston. So this actually worked. It turns out that wasn't on there dreadfully tight. So that did slide down and come off. And you'll notice there's a pin in that shaft here. And several things is to put never sees on all this when you put it back together, but there's a pin right here. And there's a slot in the shaft right here. And so when that goes back together, I'll need to make sure to watch out for that. But that's step one in getting this belt off, because if you can't get this front off of here, then you can't change it. Now it may have been that if I'd have disconnected this wire, I may have gotten this off without having to move that clutch out of the way, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's enough room between here and this side, this front body or not. So just so you know, if you can do it without taking the clutch off, that's awesome. But if not, that's how I got the clutch off. Now, once I release the pressure from here, and this is spring loaded right here, this little piece right here, then I should be able to slip this loose and get this off of that shaft. And then the next thing I'm going to have to do is remove, several books tell me I need to remove this piece here. I'm not sure if I actually do or not, but I am going to have to pull the pin out of here, because one side of this belt is on each side of this piece, and I need to be able to get this all off of there and back on. So I'm going to shut off the camera and figure that out, and then I'll come back to that.